Once again, welcome back to Crypto Tutorial. On today's video, I would like to discuss XRP and how it's currently performing and how it will be performing during the upcoming days and hours. But before doing so, I would highly appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button, and as well, if you're liking the content, do not forget to hit the like button as well afterwards. Thank you very much for doing so, and let's get started. If we take a look at the XRP compared to Bitcoin chart, you can clearly see that I still draw this downward sloping or descending previous resistance. We broke above this descending resistance, but unfortunately right now we are seeing something else. Why I actually have chosen to leave this downward sloping resistance is because right now it could possibly serve as downward sloping support or descending support, and therefore I would like to leave it over here that way, just to show you that perhaps we might be able to find support on top of this point of this downward sloping support line and head back up afterwards. Could be a possibility, or perhaps just find support even further if we break out towards the downside even more. Of course, this being said, I would like to disable this descending support, and as well I would like to discuss actually the RSI on the daily time frame. You can clearly see that on the daily time frame the RSI is looking actually quite healthy to me. You are not spotting any type of bullish or bearish divergence, but we are clearly seeing a lower high structure as well. This lower high structure is clearly noticeable on the chart, and this is actually something that does concern me due to the fact that we might see a further decline in the price action or in the strength compared to Bitcoin, as we can probably see right now. So the RSI is looking quite good. What else is actually significant right now is that we are right in the middle of the purple area, and therefore we have still enough momentum towards the up or either towards the downside. So there is still a long or potential very volatile move on the strength compared to Bitcoin chart. So this is something you have to take into account if you are right now checking the price action of XRP, that we might see a very volatile move in the strength compared to Bitcoin chart. This being said, I would like to actually enable something else. On the daily time frame, you can clearly see that we are creating a type of pattern. I will discuss this a little bit later, but before doing so, I would like to discuss the moving averages that I already enabled, and you can clearly see that the 50-day moving average is actually holding very strong right now. And once we saw the wick of this candle, you could clearly see that it got supported by the 100-day moving average. So as I said previously during my videos, I told you that this would be major levels of support. They are clearly showing their capabilities, and we are still finding support on top of the 50-day moving average. So this being said, what I personally think is very likely to occur is that we're going to see a decrease even further towards the downside, due to the fact that we are seeing that Bitcoin is actually not holding strong quite well, and we perhaps might see even a further decline during the upcoming days. But of course, this is just a matter of time until we will see a trend reversal occur. But right now we have to stay very careful, and we have to take advantages of this current downward scenario that we are seeing in the market to actually trade all the way towards the downside, and afterwards when we see that trend reversal occur, trade towards the upside as well. Lastly, I would like to enable the MACD. On the MACD, you can clearly see on the daily time frame that we were not able at this point in time to see a crossover towards upward momentum. We actually started at even more severe downward momentum, and for sure this has an impact on the chart very clearly, and I think perhaps we might see even more decrease in XRP strength compared to Bitcoin during the upcoming hours. Lastly, I would like to go towards the 4-hourly time frame. You can clearly see that at this point in time we are heading also towards a possible crossover of downward momentum after a minor upward momentum on the chart. This could possibly mean that we will see a major decrease once again get started, and that is something I'm right now preparing myself for. So the MACD could possibly start even more downward momentum on the strength compared to Bitcoin, and this will for sure have eventually impact on XRP's price action. Lastly, what I would like to discuss is actually this over here. You can clearly see that we are right now actually trading on top of this previous level of support and resistance. Not completely, but I think it is very important due to the fact that if I place this line, I will color it for you blue. You can clearly see that on top of this blue line, we found previously a major level of resistance. Afterwards, we were able to find support on top of it after a major decline actually in XRP strength compared to Bitcoin. And right now we have seen this major crash towards the downside, and we are once again finding support on top of this area in between the yellow and blue line. So that is for me very important. But what I think is even more significant is to actually stay on top of this level before heading even further towards the downside, because if this occurs, we could potentially see a major decrease in XRP's price action heading towards the 0.236 before. But if we are not able to hold strong at that point in time, we might see an even further decrease towards the downside. So that is something I think in particular would be just rather sad, but of course I'm not concerned at all, and I think it's just a matter of time before we will see a trend reversal occur. I don't think it will take several weeks. I think a week or two might be possible, but afterwards I think we will be seeing major returns and just rather quick jumps towards the upside. So therefore I would like to actually monitor very closely if we are going to break out towards the up or towards the downside. So thank you very much for watching so far. And right now I would like to enable the XRP compared to USD chart, and what I would like to do is actually very simple. Take a look at what we previously have seen. We were forming this symmetrical triangle. We saw this major breakout towards the upside, and afterwards we saw this incredible flash crash towards the downside, breaking underneath this ascending support. And right now we are trading currently underneath it. What I think is very likely to occur right now, we are trading on top of the 0.382. And if you take a look a little bit more closely, you can clearly see, if you enable the MACD, that we might see it cross over towards negative momentum once again. As well, Bitcoin is not holding very strong, and right now we could possibly see a major decline in its price action heading towards the 0.236 level at approximately 85 cents before seeing a major recovery. And what I personally think is happening right now is that we are just seeing a regular cryptocurrency scenario, that we are right now just seeing a major decrease in its price, and the decrease is actually rather healthy if we're heading towards the 0.236 level, due to the fact that it is a 40% decrease in its price. And we have noticed that this is actually something that does occur regularly and that you have to take into account when you are investing in Bitcoin. And what I'm saying right now, or in cryptocurrencies in general, is actually that I'm not afraid at all, and I'm actually quite pumped to be able to purchase even more XRP at these levels and head straight back up afterwards. So that is something I think is very good to know. As well, the crossover on the 4-hourly time frame could perhaps happen during the upcoming hours, and why I'm saying so is due to the fact that if we take a look at the 1-hourly time frame, we clearly have seen a crossover occur already on the MACD. As well, on the 2-hourly time frame, we are heading towards a crossover, and it could occur during the upcoming minutes, and this will follow all the way until the 4-hourly time frame. And lastly, on the daily time frame, we have seen major momentum already getting started, so perhaps we might see even more momentum and more decline towards the downside on the XRP's price action. This being said, I would like to actually head back towards the 4-hourly time frame and enable as well the RSI. On the RSI, you can clearly see that we are not spotting any type of bullish or bearish divergence. We are clearly on the lower part on the RSI, and this could perhaps mean that we still have actually quite a lot of momentum towards the downside, due to the fact that we are not underneath the dotted area. You can clearly see once we drop below the dotted area, we found support on top of the 0.382 level, and as well we were on the oversold area on the XRP RSI. Due to the fact that the RSI dropped below the dotted line, we saw an increase in strength, and we could clearly see that we were able to find support on top of the 0.382. But right now we could see a dump even further below the dotted line on the RSI, and afterwards of course a recovery. But I think it is very likely that we will see even more momentum towards the downside getting created. As well, what I would like to discuss is actually the EMA ribbon. If we take a look at the EMA ribbon on the 4-hourly time frame, you can clearly see that the last 4-hourly candle, or just 2 candles before that, had a major increase in its price, but was not able to actually close or stay inside of the EMA ribbon. Personally, I think it is very likely that we are going to see once again a retest of the EMA ribbon before heading back down, due to the fact that the EMA ribbon will serve as major level of resistance, and I think that is something you have to take into consideration. Of course, what I think is even more important is to take a look at what the EMA ribbon looks like on the daily time frame. And if you take a look on the daily time frame, we are right now getting supported by it. But what I think is very important to know is that we are inside of the EMA ribbon. We are seeing support on top of the 0.382 being found. But if we see a major decrease in Bitcoin's price action, and that could have a lot of influence, and we might see major momentum towards the downside getting created, breaking out below the EMA ribbon on the daily time frame, and that will for sure have a major impact on XRP's price action. So therefore, I would like to actually warn you that if we break below the EMA ribbon on the daily time frame, we might see a major decline getting started. So where are we actually heading towards, and why do I think so? Well, my theory is actually that we will just take a look at this pattern that we saw previously. The symmetrical triangle will actually show us where the breakout is actually leading us towards, due to the fact that we saw like a fake breakout towards the upside. It was actually quite a nice breakout, but unfortunately we got rejected at that level and we saw that major decrease in its price. Therefore, I would actually like to show you that the potential breakout towards the downside on this symmetrical triangle is something similar to this, by measuring the two touch points of the descending resistance and the ascending support, and would be heading all the way towards the 0.236 at 85 cents. I think this is very likely to occur. And this being said, I would actually like to show you my Twitter page. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, it would be highly appreciated at Thorough Crypto, where you will stay up to date about all upcoming videos, and as well you will be part of the community, and that is also something very nice to do. Lastly, I would like to actually not discuss the moving averages, but where we could possibly as well be finding support based on previous levels of support and resistance. And what I personally think is quite an important level, if we just take away this measurement, is actually this level over here, where we were able for quite a while to find resistance underneath, and as well for a small period of time found support on top before heading towards the upside. So I would like to place this horizontal ray at this point in time, and you can clearly see that we were for a long period of time staying underneath it, not being able to break out above this horizontal level of resistance. Afterwards, we were able to break out above it, and we found for quite a while support on top. So if we are seeing a major decrease, I personally think that we will be heading towards the 0.236. But if the EMA ribbon on the daily time frame switches over towards downward momentum, I think it is very likely that we will see a retest of the EMA ribbon, not being able to actually break out above it, heading straight back down and heading even further towards the downside, perhaps even towards the $70. And that I think is something we have to take into consideration that might occur during the upcoming days. Of course, the 0.236 level is a level that I think personally would be better to stay on top of. But of course, you have to take into consideration that we might head towards the 0.69 cents, so 69 at $70, and that would perhaps be our target level. So please take a close watch at what's currently happening on the market. But what I'm saying is you have to take into consideration that the 0.236 level is for sure a level that we will be seeing during the upcoming days on the XRP chart. So thank you very much for watching this video, and have a nice day.
I've been on Uniswap, now I'm out on one edge. Used to trade centralized, now we on